Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. You're watching Vying Gaming. Oh, one moment. And enjoy the video. Hello everyone, Nary here from Vying Gaming. Some of you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. As you can see, today I'm coming at you with another Let's Play episode of Far Beyond the World. So, the last place we left off... Oh yes, pancake surprise. Rannick and I were making some blueberry... Rannick and Orien were making some blueberry bacon pancakes. That sounds like a wonderful mix, and the only thing that'd probably make that better is some blueberry syrup. Oh Lord, that sounds good. I'm already hungry again, and I had freaking key lime pie for breakfast. Alright guys, so without further ado, let's jump right back into it. Just sit back and enjoy. Let me entertain you for the next 20 minutes, and Alarm Chan, you have been engaged, and we are good to go. I watched the wolf dump the berries and cubed bacon into the bowl and mix them energetically into the batter. Right, you'll do the honors. He passes me the bowl and walks off to fetch the iron pan. Once he secures it in the fire, he points at the table. He points at the table. Grab a stick of butter. We need to grease it up. Sure. I nod, placing down the bowl and grabbing a large fork from the mantel. I impale the butter with it and approach the hearth. Rannick looks at me with joy as I press the stick onto the pan, melting its bottom side and gliding it across the surface. I cannot help but notice its tail swings each time I do something to his satisfaction. It's almost as if he's saying, "Attaboy," which is kind of ironic considering only one of us is a canine. Once the pan is glistening, I return the butter back to the table and grab the bowl. Large ones or small? Up to you, my lord. Oh, give it a rest already. I scoff merrily at his tease and simply plop a large dollop of batter in the center. I never claimed to be noble. You're the one who keeps spoiling me. Yeah, well, I might have an ulterior motive. Oh? Best way to jog some memories is to engage the senses. I chuckle, nodding in agreement. He isn't wrong. This does stir something deep inside my subconsciousness. I must have done this with someone back before, well, any of this. The homely feeling that fills my heart as I watch the pancake brown confirms it. God, that looks delicious. Whoop! Rannick laughs as he flips the pancake in the air. I join his merriment, completely thrown off by how accustomed I've become to his antics. I simply shake my head and move the ready pancake onto the plate and pour another spoonful of batter onto the pan. I watch in silence as it browns, seeing Rannick give me a cheeky side-eye from time to time. His tail leaves no doubt that the wolf is really happy. Am I reading too much into this? Is it normal for a guy to be so lovable? Yes. I'm so helplessly confused. In total, we fry 6 pancakes, all the while the wolf shows off, flipping them flamboyantly into the air. I cannot help but laugh each time he tries to win my attention and approval. Once the food is ready, we sit down to the table. You can eat them on your own, or... He points to 2 small clay pots. Sprinkle them with either one of those. Ooh, or both. He flashes his brows at me in another tease. I give a quick glance to the contents of each jar, both looking golden and clear. Honey? I guess, to which the wolf nods. And this? Birch syrup. I tilt my head in confusion, quickly realizing it's probably similar to the maple one. Noticing my hesitance, the wolf removes a wooden dipper from the jar and brings it over to me. He holds his paw beneath, making sure the syrup doesn't splash all over the table. A red blush paints over my face quicker than I can realize. He's playing me like a fiddle. Try it. He encourages me with a kind smile. I part my trembling lips, shyly sticking my tongue out to touch a golden strand dribbling from the dipper. A mixture of floral and caramel-like sweetness hits me, and I close my eyes to truly savor it. I wasn't wrong. It is quite like maple syrup, although much stronger in flavor, a bit more complex. You like it? I nod, covering my face as I lick the excess from my lips. Why are you being so seductive all the damn time? They combine quite well. The wolf smiles as he pours the syrup over his pancakes. True to his words, he then proceeds to glaze them over with golden strands of honey, and I am tempted to do the same when the thought occurs to me. How are we going to eat this without getting all gooey and sticky? I had some cutlery borrowed from the villa, so that my liege won't have to use his fingers. He reveals to me 2 silver forks, repeatedly raising his brows in jest. You're so unbelievable. Unbelievably thoughtful, you mean? Actually, yeah, but I'm not about to admit it. I will show him that the 2 of us can play this game. What do patrol duties involve? I ask absent-mindedly, drizzling my pancakes in the same fashion, strands of both the syrup and honey zigzagging across their surface. That does sound like a good combination. We check the forest for any signs of intrusion. You mean any more of me? He laughs at the remark. Ha! There can be only one of you. He winks at me coyly, and I widen my eyes in embarrassment. You kind of reached my quota. Any more humans and even the spirits won't be able to save us from the chopping block. Smooth save. I flash my brows to let him know I'm aware of what he's doing and simply dig into my meal, trying to conceal my blush. I cut off a piece of my pancake with a fork and then bring it up to my mouth. As I take a bite, I immediately close my eyes with satisfaction. Damn! This hits a spot and sends me down my vacant memory lane. Even though I cannot summon any images, I know I've had pancakes before. The delicious mixture of meat and berries, the syrup and honey, it's beyond description. I almost melt in the chair at the gooey delight bursting in my mouth with flavor. I'm brought back to the world of the living by the sound of his tail thumping against the chair. He looks at me with absolute joy, clearly happy that his treat did the trick. Thank you. You're welcome. The wolf nods, digging into his food. What else do you do on patrols? We keep an eye on the general health of the forest. We track the game, look for any signs of disease, both in wildlife and the trees. He explains, shoveling a whole pancake into his muzzle. We will move where dry wood to avoid a flood. I don't know what the fuck that was. Oh my god. I wince as the wolf struggles to speak with his mouth full. His casual manners are almost endearing, and I chuckle as he finally swallows the food down with a loud sigh. That sort of stuff. I watch carefully as he gets up and walks towards the barrel to fill up his mug with ale. We also do war games with other packs, exercise, and spar. I try to keep my pack well trained and ready for anything. He takes a sip as he sits back down. Your pack? Yeah, our tribe is divided into 6 packs. They're an elite group of 6 highly skilled wolves, warriors, hunters, and rangers. 7th being the alpha, the leader. Who's your alpha, then? He narrows his eyes through a bemused smile. I did say my pack, didn't I? The wolf reveals with a twinge of pride in his voice. You're the alpha? I almost exclaimed, choking slightly on my food. And that surprises you? No, just... wow. Rennick receives my praise with satisfaction. I mean, he's already impressive as is, but I still smile. He's quite prominent within his tribe, no doubt about that. It must be so much pressure on someone so young. I guess this is why he's so confusing when it comes to my feelings. I guess this is why he's so confusing when it comes to feelings. He doesn't want anyone to have any reason to undermine his position. Everything in his life conspires to box him up tightly and then keep him like that forever. Is Vul in your pack? He snorts, looking at me with a mocking expression. Does Vul look like someone who takes orders? Fair point. He's also an alpha. Yeah, that makes sense. Our respective packs are actually competing for dominance. Doesn't that strain your relationship? Enhances it, really. We keep each other on our toes and in peak condition. Thanks to that, my father has 2 best packs in the entirety of Tiernan. We're well respected by the other tribes. I blush, really amazed that I landed in the lap of those 2 impressive wolves. This is quite the company I found myself in. Not only they saved my life, but also risked everything in doing so. Their freedom, their positions, even their lives. At times like this, I really do wish I was a lost human noble. At the very least, I would have been worth all that trouble. We continue with our breakfast, Rannick going quite fast about it, almost devouring the food with loud, satisfying chomps. I don't know why, but something about his jagged fangs is almost enticing. I try not to be too obvious, so I sneak secret gazes to admire his muzzle at work. Oh, what is wrong with me? Right, gotta run, he says, emptying his mug in one go. He bangs it on the table and rushes off, ruffling my hair as he passes by. I'll try to be back by late afternoon. I already asked Father if I could dine with you today. We'll have our own little feast tonight. He's practically beaming at the revelation, in all fairness. It lifts my spirits. Ugh. Oh, Lord, I must have eaten too many pancakes. Good luck on your patrol. I smile as he opens the door. I make my own luck. He winks again and leaves the house. Cocky bastard. I look down at my still full plate. I've barely gone through one of the pancakes. The meal is delicious, but also very filling. Not to mention it's extremely early. Looking at the window, it's hard to gauge what time it is, but I bet it's somewhere in the range of 4 a.m. I gaze back to my pancakes, feeling rather reluctant to leave them unfinished. That early Rannick poured a lot of effort into them, but also the syrup will change them into an inedible mush within the next hour or so. I continue with my breakfast half-heartedly, feeling increasingly full. In all fairness, I've been eating very little since I woke up. Although I do sense hunger now and then, I find myself easily sated, not to mention my straying thoughts often lose my appetite. And just like that, I'm reminded that I'm alone. At least, I'm not left in the darkness. After yesterday, this kitchen seems less friendly than usual. I tap my hands on the table, trying to figure out how to occupy myself. If my wandering thoughts are the cause of my freakouts, then I cannot stay idle for long. I don't suppose I could clean the house all over again. That would be lunacy. I sigh reluctantly, approaching the cupboard and picking up the blue tome. The Great Tiger Rebellion. What a title. How funny it would be to have a pop quizzes based on this nonsense. They did those at a school. I can almost recall a classroom filled with chatter and laughter. The image is blurry, with faces blank and distorted, disappearing almost instantly into the ever-present nothingness in my mind. Huh. I was educated. I used to study a lot. I can't remember what or why, but I used to stay up late with a book like this, or wake up early to catch up on my studies before an exam. Curious. I gaze around the room, realizing how familiar this setting really is. He was right. Best way to jog one's memories is to engage the senses. This little realization fills me with hope. If an early read can summon even a glimpse of my past life, then perhaps with time I'll manage to regain more of what was lost and Perhaps in time I'll manage to regain more of what was lost, the more activities we get to do. Rannick is quite smart for someone who was supposedly born with a sword in his paw. I wonder, do wolves even have a school? Should I mention to Rannick that I used to study, or will he mock me once again for being born in high places? I can almost hear his la-di-da young lordling read books instead of learning how to fight, or something along the lines. I just chuckle, shaking off this little sidetracking thought. I guess it doesn't really matter. I recline comfortably, set on giving the book another go. Apparently the first major battle of the rebellion took place right here in Tiernan. The Tiguri and the Sylvan folk decimated an entire Leonin army within these woods. It was a first defeat dealt to the Lions, which proved to the other kin of Avalon that their overlords are not invincible. From that point onward, the rebellion grew in scope, with more creatures banding together to overthrow the tyrants. The rest of the book is filled with dates and names, a very crowded parade of characters spanning nearly a century of conflict. I try to pay as much attention to detail as possible, but considering I really have no context for any of this, most of the information goes in one eye and out the other. I flick the pages idly, munching on the remaining munching on the remaining pancakes from time to time. Oh my god, how long has he been reading? A long yawn interrupts my reading, and I look around to notice it's already quite bright outside. Resigned, I just close the book shut. Lion's bad, tiger's good. Everyone lived happily ever after. Clearly, it's a biased writing and won't help me to hold a proper conversation with Rannick, but rather only fuel his frustration. With day arriving in full swing, at least I don't have to worry about the dark. I approach the window and admire how nice it is outside. The weather seems absolutely lovely, with not a single cloud in the sky and the warm sun reaching out to everything it can touch. I close my eyes and enjoy the warmth on my skin. I stay there for a few minutes, almost losing myself in the moment until the familiar nagging feeling stirs inside of me. I really need a hobby. What do people even do when home alone? Protect it from intruders! And 'tis not the season yet! I chuckle, shaking my head at another absurd thought to which I have no context. My gaze darts back to the books, and I'm really unsettled by the idea that all I have to kill time with is an equivalent of a foreign encyclopedia. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that it's much easier to be entertained back where I'm from. I can't think of a single thing I would do, but I'm darn sure I wasn't this helpless. I really need to get out of this damned house. It almost feels as if the walls are watching me, waiting for me to lower my guard. I don't know why, but my breath slightly speeds up. I begin struggling for air as my windpipe clenches shut as if Vul was strangling me again. An overwhelming feeling of dread falls upon me as I look around the room in fear. What's going on? I gasp, clutching my chest, feeling my heart pounding like a drum. My eyes tear up, and once I'm hyperventilating, I know the panic has already set in. No! 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 Why is this happening in broad daylight? I'm losing control again. This is wrong. I cannot give in. And then he gave in. Oh dear, what is happening? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ooh. Ooh, I can't skip it. What's going on? There is no escape. Uh-oh. Oh, Lord. What is this? Why am I here? You are already dead. No. No. This can't be real. Let me go! Give in to your weakness. I desperately draw on air, breathing heavily as if I just resurfaced from a deep dive. I feel so vulnerable and empty, as if all the joy and happiness got sucked out of me. I look around the kitchen, shocked that it's consumed by darkness and twisted in a unnatural way. What the fuck is going on? My heart jumps out of my chest as a torturous moan echoes across the room. Stop it! I shout out, tears flowing freely as I drop to my knees, huddling to the floor. Please, stop it! I beg to no avail. I feel watched, oppressed, as if someone stood above me, judging and finding me wanting. Rennick, I mumble out, hoping that the wolf could hear me, wherever he is. He's the only one who can make this go away. Through the memory of tender moments we shared, I slowly climb out of this pit of despair. That wolf, good and caring, is the hope I cling to. A hope that he'll walk in through these doors and save me. I grunt, feeling physically oppressed, as if something tried to push me down to the floor. My face is pressed against the wooden panels, the very same I cleaned. I can almost see my reflection on the glistening surface, remembering how awkward it made him. It hasn't been this shiny since I laid it with Vul. That's when I realize it is his house, built with love and care. A house he allowed me to stay in, to keep me safe and give me shelter. I push back against the invisible force, emboldened by this newfound resolve. I look back at the kitchen, my mind clearing and my breath stabilizing. I am safe here. This is his home. My determination grows stronger with each passing moment. You cannot torment me here! I shout out defiantly, vision of the gray wolf giving me strength to oppose the shadows. Go away! And just like that, the nightmare's vision dissipates as if it was never there. At first I'm stunned that I managed to banish it, almost cautious it's just another trick. I rush towards the window, pressing myself against the glass. Dark clouds cover the sky, and heavy slush of water fills my ears. It's raining cats and dogs out there, but it's still very much daytime. When did the weather turn? I rub my temple in confusion, trying to rationalize how I slipped out for so long. With a shaky step I approach the table and sit down, trying to stabilize my breath. I wasn't drinking anything this time. Something is terribly wrong with me. I slowly begin to realize why my emotions shift so violently. There are those ripples of self-doubt and self-deprecation echoing across my mind, almost as if preying on my moments of weakness. Despite masking themselves as my inner thoughts, they feel so cold and dark that I slowly start to notice the difference. But how did the hours go by without me realizing? It's almost as if I were in a trance. As upsetting as this revelation is, I take solace in the fact that I can fight back. The gray wolf is the key in that struggle. The onset of heavy rain outside deepens my feelings of sorrow and loneliness. I decide to retreat to the bedroom, where Rannick's scent is the strongest. It might be odd, but I need to feel the wolf near me, even if it's in an esoteric sense. I sit myself quietly on the window ledge, looking at the soaked world outside. The rain rhythmically taps on my window, slushing down the glass and distorting the view. I hug my knees tight to my chest. I hate being alone. Whenever I'm sitting with my own thoughts, I'm instantly filled with terror. With no memories to go by, my mind is akin to the void, boundless and emptying with so much space the shadows roam free. I try making up some memories, some happy distractions. I think about days gone by, when I would go out on an afternoon like this and run through the grass, getting wet and dirty, an imaginary friend at my side while we dance in the rain. I must have done that. Immediately I picture this friend to be Rannick, his fur soaked and dripping. I chuckle, wondering if he'd smell bad. Again, I feel warmth going down my cheeks in two streaks. I'm in tears. I feel so alone here, so helplessly alone. No parents, no people to call my own, just this wolf in his cottage. As lovely and adorable as he is, he cannot compensate for an entire life lost to the void. My friends, potential siblings, my mom and dad, In all honesty, I'm just an orphan at this point. I'm so consumed by despair that I jump up when a familiar paw lands on my back. Rennick! I gasp, startled out of my skin. I try not to look at him, to spare him the view, but I get a glance of the wolf's sad expression. You were crying again. I adjust myself, facing him with a brave smile. I rub my tears away and hang my feet off the side of the ledge. It's just the rain. I chuckle, not wanting to trouble him with my constant freakouts. He raises one brow and quickly looks around the room, paws extended to either side as if he wants to catch imaginary droplets. Doesn't seem to be raining inside. He draws a laugh from me. For someone so big and important, he can be such a goofball at times. But seriously, you're sitting in the dark again. The wolf grumbles, giving me a more stern look. I told you it's not good for you. Preykin don't deal well with darkness, especially when distressed. Humans aren't Preykin, are they? Oop, I'm gonna pause it right there. Oh, God, it was a good episode. We're getting more and more of the creepy dark voice. You know what? I ought to do my impression of Michael Stan when I do that voice. He's the lead singer for Dark Tranquillity, and I can really do that death growl that he does. And also, I can sound a little bit like the actor who did The Darkness. I forget his name, but The Darkness was an incredible game. Why is there no PC port? If anyone can hear this and I ever get to be really influential in the gaming industry, make a PC port of the fucking Darkness, please. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to the next video. I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!